What's up, everyone? How's everybody doing today? Today is Tuesday, September 20th, 2022. Another day, another dollar, another breath. We thankful. Anyway, so today we're going to do another See Me Fly Live, the entrepreneur's journey. We want to get started pretty soon. Just going to give it a couple more seconds. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing well and having a blessed Tuesday. Cool. Anyways, gonna get started. So, hi and welcome to my 14th episode of the See Me Fly Live, the Entrepreneur's Journey. I am your host, Cecil Williams. What's up, Marcus? What's going on, bro? So, today's episode is brought to you by See Me Fly Money, a platform built to help empower our community with financial literacy and to better our financial lives. You can check it out on seemifly.medium.com. So, it's CIMIFLY, like my IG handle, .medium.com. So Medium is a writing platform, kind of similar to a blog, and a lot of people, a lot of writers post a lot of stuff on there. So I host my See Me Fly, Carl, writing on that. So you can check it out. Some interesting articles about financial literacy and making sure we lead a better financial life. So check it out. Anyways, today's topic is going to be titled "The Rebel in You." It's interesting because I think we all have a little bit of rebel in us in terms of just our personalities. Some people choose to suppress it, some people choose to explore it. And the goal for this particular live is how we channel that inner rebel in us to be more productive. How do we explore that person inside of us to make sure we nurture it, to develop ourselves, to become the best version of ourselves? Like I said, some people might be afraid to tap into it, and others maybe go excessively out of line with it. And there could be extremes, but at the end of the day, the goal is to figure out how we tap into that rebel in us, to nurture that person, to develop ourselves and make it beneficial for ourselves and our communities. Anyway, so yeah. So normally I like to get started with about 2 to 3 quotes every time, and then we go on to explore those quotes and just kind of talk about these things, learn something, and I promised myself that I'm trying to keep these what do you call it? These lives to about 15 minutes. So I'm gonna see if I can keep this one to about that. The first one, anyways, I'm gonna read off this. It says accomplishments don't erase shame, hatred, cruelty, silence, ignorance, discrimination, low self-esteem, and immorality. It covers it up with a creative version of pride and ego. Only restitution, forgiving yourself and others, compassion, repentance, and living with dignity will erase that past. Shannon Alder. That's a deep, loaded, and loaded one, and essentially, I mean, this comes with the ideology again behind the rebel in you. And if you kind of think about it, it's basically saying, my dad always says this about things. One of the things he has going for him is his pride, or his not necessarily, well, I mean, pride, but dignity. I guess maybe I'm using the wrong word. Dignity in life, we all have our name and our dignity, and that's one of the things we have going for us. And what this is basically saying is people use their accomplishments in life to kind of cover up everything else that they've done. I mean, if you kind of take, if you listen to about certain movie stars or certain celebrities, they say, "Oh, that person's mean. That person needs this or that," and they use their accomplishments to kind of just brush over that. Or ignorance. There are certain people who, politicians, who because of where they are in their position of power, they that supposed accomplishment is what they use to erase certain things. But at the end of the day, you cannot erase those things, especially when you open your mouth. Which name, Marcus? Well, I'm not sure if you're referring to the name of the person who said it, but Shannon Alder, or the name. Just let me know which name, and I'll let you know. But yeah, so essentially, these things that we do in life, we have to come from a place of humility, we have to also understand our dignity is all we have. But with that said, each person still has a rebel in them, something inside of them that is pushing, something inside of them that is looking to get out and break the status quo. It's looking to defy the odds. And I'm using these things in more of a in more of a positive light, where it's saying there's always something inside of you who's looking to go. When everybody wants to go left, you want to go right, and think. And you have to keep questioning yourself. You have to go into your gut and ask yourself, why do these things keep happening? Or why am I that person? And how can I utilize that to become a better version of myself? So the next one, it says the most the most subversive person are those who ask questions. And essentially, I always say this: curiosity, there's a saying, curiosity killed the cat. But at the end of the day, if you are not curious about your environment, your surroundings, and what you're doing, you will not get ahead in life. You have to be curious. And that curious person is also the rebel in you at times. Like if you are in class, teachers lecturing, asking questions, sometimes you might be seen as the irritating person asking questions. For me, I generally sometimes do not like to ask a lot of questions, but when I don't ask questions, I tend to replace it with taking notes and then doing research. But then there are times where you're put in positions within certain networks and certain groups of people where you have to force yourself, if it's not your personality, to ask questions and ask. There is no stupid question. And you can even preface it by that saying, I might be asking a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because you're learning. You're having an opportunity to learn, but you're also having an opportunity to ask questions others were thinking about that they might not be brave enough to ask. So you are that rebel, you are that brave person to ask that question, to make sure you all get educated and you nourish your mind. And the last one, it says, if you have to say or do something controversial, aim so that people will hate that they love it and not love that they hate it. Chris Jammy. Now this one's an interesting one, because it's like love to hate you, hate to love you type of saying. And basically, if you kind of take branding, for instance, like certain brands take a stance where they make certain commercials and they become very controversial. Now they say no publicity is bad publicity, and to a certain extent that is true. Now we live in a cancel culture where maybe certain bad publicities might get certain people canceled, maybe not necessarily. I mean, certain brands, it's difficult to, I mean, not saying brands cannot get canceled, but there's certain brands where it might be difficult to just cancel that brand. What's up, Kenny? What's going on? But sometimes the rebel in you, so whether it's the rebel in the brand, the rebel in the creative director, the marketing director, you have to be able to push boundaries. And when you push that boundaries, the aim is that people will hate to love it, but also not love that they hate it. I mean, it's kind of a very weird space, but at the end of the day, you're making your presence felt. You're creating something controversial, and you're putting yourself out there to make sure people, nothing much, Kenny, just doing these lives, trying to be of service, man. Learning, giving people information that hopefully would transcend their lives and take it to the next level. So whatever anybody's looking to do, one step to the next, hopefully these conversations will definitely help. But yeah, so like I said, curiosity leads to learning. When you ask questions, you get a lot of clarity. So never be afraid to ask questions. I mean, I used to be someone who did not like to ask questions, probably still today, depending, but I realized in order to learn, I have to ask questions. If I don't ask questions, I don't get clarity. It's not necessarily getting the right answer, because maybe the person who is giving doesn't have the right answer, but it gets you clarity in understanding your position, or what position you are on that topic, or what position society is on that particular topic. And it further then lets you put yourself in a position to go understand further about that topic. So if you don't get the answer that you want, then you can go do more research. But again, like I said, being the rebel, you cannot be afraid to challenge the status quo. You have to be someone who questions everything. And And if you're going to question everything, I think where I normally then say the rebel in you then challenge it, make sure you're willing to do research, make sure you're willing to back up your challenges by facts and statistics or just information. So information is powerful. Now they normally say information is powerful, but it's only as powerful as you're able to utilize that information and back it up with facts and all the things that come with it. So, but don't be afraid. Don't be afraid on taking a certain stance on certain things in a particular direction. I mean, I know for most of us, the path is we go to school, we get out of school, we get a job, and you become you're at the bottom of the totem pole. Now you go to you go to a meeting with your bosses, your managers, line managers, and everyone, and someone's making a point about something, and you know that it's either wrong or there's a better way to do it, or you have an opinion or something that you can contribute to that. Don't be afraid to take a stance. I know most people would say, well, what if I get fired? Now, I guess this is where diplomacy comes in. You have to learn, and this is where strong communication skills come in. One of the reasons I do these is to practice my communication skills, because I do believe that if you become a great communicator with people, then you are able to navigate your way through life a little bit easier than normal. People are able to receive your information better. You're able to get what you want, and you're able to provide value to others. So find a way to be a good communicator. So within those meetings, understanding the different levels that are in there, you can communicate yourself in maybe a non-confrontational manner and place in things like that. If you improve that communication skill, you sharpen that skill, then you are able to be in a position to take a stance, go in that direction. And if you know that you are wrong, I think as human beings, we have to be vulnerable enough to pivot. We have to be vulnerable enough to say, okay, I am wrong. I'm going to regroup and I'm going to take, whether it's a different direction, until you figure it out. And I think that's what the rebel in most of us has to do, because I think the word rebel obviously comes with the negative connotation of some violence or whatever you want to call it. But so in entrepreneurship, when they say someone's a rebel, it could also be that that person's a trailblazer. I mean, if you take people like Elon Musk, you take people like Steve Jobs, they were all rebels. They wanted things done the way they wanted it done. I mean, even if you take someone like Warren Buffett, if you take Warren Buffett when the technology age was becoming this massive thing, and Warren Buffett said, I don't understand it and I am not going to invest in technology, he might have lost, but you can kind of say that was the rebel in him saying, I'm going against the grain on, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, he's still today one of the most successful investors, and he's one of the biggest investors in Apple, which is a technology company. But he had to figure out how to understand the product. I mean, in the case, it's like even today, he says he will not invest in crypto, and that's because he doesn't understand it. And if you're going to be a rebel, I think one of the things that you have to ultimately make clear to yourselves is your ability to learn, your ability to research, your ability to have information handy, because you're taking a path that is less traveled. If you're going to take that path, you better be equipped with the resources and tools needed. I mean, it's like if you're going to go out into the wild and into the wilderness, you need water, you need your tent, you need all these things to be able to make fire. That's what it means when it says you have to be ready. Nobody's saying don't be a rebel, but you have to make sure you're ready for that battle. I mean, you're ready to take on the battle. And for some of us, this will take time, but ultimately, I think you cannot give up with with something like this. You have to continue to keep improving, and only then will you discover your true potential. And when you discover your potential, you're able to figure out what skills and resources you need, and you need to feed them. Because I think in the world we live in today, the greatest tools for advancement are your skills, the skills you sharpen. I mean, I had to learn that. I mean, it's taken me probably well over 15 years to learn that, even though you kind of understand and you know these things, but you hear the words being thrown around. I mean, I remember 10, 15 years ago, even in college or when social media became popular, or even in the classroom with your professors, they're saying skills are going to be the next big thing. Skills are going to be the next big thing. And you keep thinking to yourself and wondering, what do people talking about when they mean skills? And I mean, examples are a doctor. A doctor is very skilled at what they do. And because of that, they are successful in their career and in many other ways have some success. Or lawyers, they're very skilled in what they do, whether you're a corporate lawyer, whether you argue in the courtroom, you have to have a certain skill set to be good. An entrepreneur now, sometimes people tend to think of this as a wide thing, but no, if you're going to be an entrepreneur and you are selling pens, you have to understand every part of your pen, understanding every part of the pen, understanding how it writes, understanding how it was made, understanding certain things and intricacies about this pen that other people do not understand makes you skilled at learning how to sell this pen probably better than anybody else. And most people will discredit that, just saying, well, whatever, but it's a skill. And if you perfect that skill, then you are able to be in a position where you become better than other people. And I think that also enables that rebel in you to take the next step. So, like I said, don't be afraid to challenge that rebel in you. Don't be afraid to let out your feelings, your emotions, your attitudes, and your behavior. I mean, because ultimately, all these things are what make you who you are. You have to be able to just take that and channel it into something that will in turn be good for you and your community, and you're able to help others. So don't see when people say this person's a rebel or the rebel in you, it's you're afraid of it. You're like, oh my God, I'm not gonna do anything about this. People are going to see me as strange. People, it's never about what people think about you. It's always about what you believe. And in order to believe in yourself, yes, it's gonna take work, but don't stop, keep going, and hopefully things get better. But yeah, so this has been today's live. I did it in like under 17 minutes, but I tried. I mean, and I'm trying not to do them for too long, but I'm hoping to get my message across in within that time, and hopefully this was helpful. I really appreciate everybody who joins, everybody who comes on. You guys really help me, and I love the feedback to be a better communicator. So if there's anything that you'd like to, any feedback you'd like to give me, I'm always open to it. And I am trying and I'm practicing to be a better communicator. So all feedback is welcome. But like I said, thank you guys very much for joining up, and hopefully you all have a good Tuesday. Thanks, Marcus, man. Appreciate you coming on board, brother. Thank you. You guys have a good day.